All right, so we're going to start by correcting yesterday's math homework. So make sure that you have your math homework out from yesterday, lesson 1.2, and then we'll go ahead and correct lesson 1.3. So here comes some of the answers from yesterday. Remember, go ahead and correct them all, and then I will ask for questions in a couple minutes, but just look over all of them first. Does anybody have any questions on these first, this first page? Remember, I can't see all of you, so you can just unmute yourself if you have a question. If you don't have a question, just go ahead and keep yourself muted. Just unmute if you do have a question. Sounds like we're good though, so let's take a look at the review side. All right, do we have any questions on any of these? Remember, just unmute yourself if you have a question. If you don't have a question, just go ahead and stay quiet. Hayden, did you exercise too hard? Are you hot now? All right, guys, well, awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and move this aside and go to my student activity book, and we're gonna take a look at lesson 1.3. We're gonna keep talking about equivalent fractions today and different methods we can use to find those equivalent fractions. So yesterday we talked about the multipliers and the divisors, which you're gonna need on your homework tonight also, so we're gonna review that before we get to it. But today we're gonna be looking at multiplication tables and how we can use these multiplication tables to help us find equivalent fractions also. So when I take a look at multiplication tables, you guys know how these work, right? You've got your numbers at the top and the bottom, and then if I said 1 times 1, oh, that's 1. 8 times 5, I go until they meet, oh, that's 40. But if I look at my horizontal rows, my rows that go from left to right across, and if I were to make a fraction out of that, so if I said I took 3/5, and the 3 is my numerator and the 5 is my denominator, as I went along that chart, those are all equivalent to 3/5. As long as I'm lined up with the number on the top and the bottom, 24/40 is equivalent to 3/5. 15/25 is equivalent to 3/5. And the other cool part about using your multiplication table is that then it also tells you what the multiplier is. So 27/45 is equivalent to 3/5, and the multiplier is 9. I can look at the number on the top to find my multiplier. 12/20 is equivalent to 3/5, and the multiplier is 4. So that's just really quick looking at how we can use these charts to find the equivalent fractions and their multipliers. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start off, and it says to color rows 4 and 9 in the first table. If you don't wanna color them, you can just kind of circle them. 4 and 9 in that first table. And then we're gonna use the table to create all of these equivalent fractions. So I have 4/9, and next, my next one is an 8 and an 18. So 8/18. Then I have 12/27. And you're just gonna keep going all the way across, making sure that you're looking at the ones that are right on top and below of each other when you're writing down those equivalent fractions. So 16 36, 20 45ths, 24 over 54, 28 over 63, 32 over 72, 36 over 81, 40 over 90. How'd we do on that? Did that make sense? I see a couple thumbs up. I see some people still writing. One thing, this is easier for me when you're in the classroom, but please don't work ahead, okay? I'll let you know when it's okay for you to go on and complete some on your own, but for right now, I haven't gone to number 2, 3, or 4 yet, so you should not be working on 2, 3, or 4 yet. So if I asked you to hold your book up and show it to me on the camera, I should only see that you have filled in the row for number 1, okay? Hopefully you guys are following along with me. All right, so are we okay with that? Any questions? If you have a question, go ahead and unmute yourself and just ask. Awesome. So we're going to do the same thing for the 3/8. We're going to color in our 3/8 on the second table, and we're going to write our equivalent fractions. You go ahead and do it. Fill in for number 2 only. Fill in all of your equivalent fractions for 3/8. When you're finished, check your work with mine. And if you can, give me a thumbs up virtually on the screen when you've got that down. Oh, somebody just has a dot for their name. I need you to at least put your first name in there for me. Mason, is that a question or is that you got it?
Sorry, I meant to do my thumbs up.
The thumbs up, you're good, buddy. All right, so before I move on to the next ones, I do want to look at these 2 rows and talk about those multipliers like we had yesterday. So for example, let's say I had just my 3/8 and I was comparing it to my 12 over 32. What would my multiplier be? How could I figure that out? Well, I need to think to myself, okay, looking at just my numerators, how would I get from 3 to 12? Go ahead and unmute yourselves. How do I get from 3 to 12?
You multiply by 4.
Times 4. How do I get from 8 to 32?
You multiply by 4.
I multiply by 4. So
4.
what is my multiplier?
4.
4, yes, because I multiply the 3 times 4, I multiply the 8 times 4. So since I'm multiplying both of those times 4, that means that 4 is my multiplier, okay? Let's compare our 3/8 again to, how about 24 over 64? How do I get from 3 to 24? How do I get from 8? Multiply by 8. Yes, 3 times 8 is 24. How do I get from 8 to 64?
Multiply by 8.
Multiply by 8. So what is my multiplier then?
8.
8 is my multiplier. Okay, I'm going to switch it up on you guys. Let's see if you can keep up. Now I'm going to go from, let's do this one, from 20 over 45 back to 4/9. So how do I get from 20 to 4? Now I'm going this direction.
Multiply by 5.
Wait, 20 times 5 is
You divide by 5.
Divide by 5.
5. Yes, 20 divided by 5 is 4. How do I get from 45 to 9?
You divide by
8.
5.
Divide by 5. So on this one, remember, it's not a multiplier. It's a divisor. So my divisor is 5 because I have to divide to get from that larger fraction to my smaller fraction. Okay? Go ahead and complete these last 2 runs of equivalent fractions along the bottom.
I got a question. What's the size of my fridge?
I forgot I was unmuted and my brother's talking to his class.
You're good. I was wondering who had the big brother talking. You can use the multiplication charts to help you fill these in, or if you find the pattern, you can just follow the pattern. Because when you're making your chain of equivalent fractions, they're gonna follow a pattern. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up or raise your hand or show me somehow when you are finished. And you don't have to turn your picture on for it, just do it within your name. So Sydney's good, I see some thumbs ups. Avery's good. Maybell, Miguel, I see some green check marks. Spencer, Sean, Neil. All right, go faster. Going as fast as I can right now, guys. All right, let's take a look at the back of this page. All right, so now we're back to our fabulous fraction bars. Use the fraction bars to find equivalent fractions for 3/4. Well, I see my first bar is split into fourths, but my second bar is also split into fourths. But look, they want me to have it in eighths. How can I change this bar to eighths? Somebody go ahead and unmute and tell me, how can I change that bar to eighths?
You
split
each
fourth
fourth
in
in
half.
half lines.
Put lines in the middle of them.
You guys are good. I heard you split each bar in half. If I split each one of those bars in halves, do I have 8 bars now?
Yes.
Yes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. Okay. Then what's my multiplier going to be?
2.
2. Yes, because each one of these bars I split into 2 sections. And I know that 3/4 times 2/2 gives me 6/8. Because remember, that multiplier is what we're multiplying both the top and the bottom number by. How about 12ths? How can I change my fourths into 12ths?
Cut each little section into thirds.
Cut each one into 3. Yep.
Each
Cut each one of those fourths into thirds. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of them are shaded.
3.
What's my multiplier?
3.
3.
3. Because each fourth I cut into 3. So 3/4 times 3/3 gives me 9/12. You got it. All right. I am, hold on to Puzzle Penguin. Don't do Puzzle Penguin yet. And don't take out your homework, but I want to show you guys this real quick. So on your homework tonight, they give you 2 fractions and then they want you to say what the divisor or what the multiplier is going to be. So how I do that is I look and say, okay, well, how do I get from 4 to 1? How would I get from 4 to 1?
by minusing.
No, have we done any minusing through these?
Dividing.
Dividing. Here it is. What am I going to divide 4 by to get to 1?
3.
Is 4 divided? 4. There we go. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So what's my divisor? 4. Right? Because I divided both of those by 4. How do I get from 2 to 6?
3.
Times 3. How do I get from 9 to 27?
9 to 27.
Multiply. Times.
Multiply by
3.
3. So my multiplier is
Oh, yes. 3.
3. 3.
If it says divisor, it means you have to divide. If it says multiplier, it means you're multiplying. So I just wanted to show you a couple samples of that on the homework before we look at Puzzled Penguin, okay? For Puzzled Penguin, I'm gonna put you guys into breakout rooms. I'm gonna stop my recording and I'm gonna put you guys into breakout rooms. You don't need to write anything down, but in your breakout rooms, I want you talking about Puzzled Penguin and figuring out what he needs to do. So when you get there, have somebody read the situation, and then you're gonna go ahead and solve it, okay? So let me stop my share.